Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about Denis Villeneuve's amazing Dune 2, Zendaya's amazing Dune 2, Timothy Chalamet's amazing Dune 2, Javier Bardem's amazing Dune 2. Just such an incredible arrival of strong narrative. And I want to talk today about the same lesson for Dungeon Master, the same lesson for Dragon Masters. Dragon Masters, when I say Dragon Master, I mean players. There's a whole video how I explain how Dungeon Masters, how Dragon Masters are Dungeons and Dragons players, and how it's a better term for them. All right, let's jump. So when I say Dragon Master, I mean Dungeons and Dragons player. All right, so having watched Dune 2, I think Denis Villeneuve and Austin Butler both inform a very powerful lesson to Dungeon Masters and Dragon Masters. And that is that 10 to 25% of your Dungeons and Dragons participation actions, if you're the Dungeon Master when you're running, if you're the Dragon Master when you're portraying your player character, 10 to 25% of your choices should be dramatically, dynamically wrong. Let me explain. All right, so what are the examples of this in Dune 2? Well, I can tell you right now, like, it is really clear to me that 10 to 25% of the choices that Denis Villeneuve made were wrong. I would say 10% on the side of Denis Villeneuve. What did he get wrong? Christopher Walken as the Emperor. It was a bad decision, right? I just heard Christopher Walken. I am the Emperor. Paul Atreides. How dare you? You know, like it, and Christopher Walken doesn't have any range, right? Like, he plays the same person in every single role. And it is shocking that Denis Villeneuve would put him in there. Denis Villeneuve made the wrong decision for that casting, right? It's abominable casting, right? It doesn't ruin the movie though, right? And we're gonna get to why that doesn't ruin the movie, but it was wrong. It was just flat out wrong. So why am I happy that it's there? Well, great narrative. We are in the business of great narrative. We're not, it's not a business for us. We are going about the goal of when we put on the Dungeon Master crown, when we put on the Dragon Master crown, right? When we sit at the table of nobles, when we do the thing that matters today more than any other secular task we do, all right? When we sit down, right, we are bringing a powerful narrative. We are telling a shared story that is supposed to have personal value, that is supposed to have legacy, that is supposed to have momentum, that is supposed to matter, right? And so we do this very intentionally, right? And the reality is we can, and that's what Denis Villeneuve was trying to do. And he is a master of narrative. He is a master of telling a powerful, valuable tale, right? Now, it's certainly not as valuable as anything you would find at even a bog standard Dungeons and Dragons table. But for the limited amount of power that the silver screen still retains, right? He is a master among that limited medium, right? And so when we go about the task of creating these incredibly powerful, valuable, personal narratives, caution is not really helpful, right? We're swinging for the fences. We're trying to tell these big, and this is why Dungeons and Dragons has safety tools, right? We are really leaping from the cavern edge, right? And caution is not an element Caution is not a caution is not an ingredient of powerful narrative. It simply isn't. And it means that you're going to end up, and the reason why um uh the reason why Christopher Walken ends up in Dune 2 is Denis Villeneuve is very confident with his choices, right? And no one can tell him no when he's decided, right? And this is important because this is absolutely necessary for design, right? Like, you need to know, I'm going to make this choice that other people are wrong, and I'm confident in my ability, right? But it also means that it's going to produce some wrong actions. Your confidence will bleed over into arrogance at times. And the reality is, we need to be on the side of risk, not on the side of caution, right? We need to be on the side of innovation, which is often failure, right? So Denis Villeneuve gives a perfect example of, you can make an incredibly wrong choice, and that is simply an ingredient in a powerful narrative, okay? And what forgives this wrong action? It was a wrong action to cast Christopher Walken in that role, right? What forgives it? The passion Denis Villeneuve brings, the hard work, and the overall masterfulness of narrative itself, right? And the willingness to take risks. And good experiencers of powerful narrative will know that powerful narrative needs risk, and that part of it is, as humans, it will be flawed, right? But it needs to be flawed in the right proportions. Never less than 10%, never more than 25, right? Austin Butler, he comes forward and he made a choice to have Feyd-Rautha speak like Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Man, that sounds like Vladimir Putin. Wow. Okay, yeah, it really makes you wonder what Frank Herbert was aware of when he chose these names. Really fascinating. And so, so basically, Austin Butler made this choice to have Feyd-Rautha speak like the Baron. It was a wrong choice, right? I think his body language, his presence, he made a wrong choice in his acting, right? And I would have much rather him craft a unique language, a unique voice for Feyd-Rautha, right? Just saying that Feyd-Rautha copies how the Baron talks, I think it was a wrong choice. And it was 25% wrong, but 75% is right? And that is encouraging players make the wrong choice up to 1 out of 4 times, right? And abandon caution to pursue a powerful narrative. And then also, because we are doing this and we're getting things wrong, and the reality is, we need to realize that risk will produce wrong actions, and that the right proportion of wrongness in a narrative is an ingredient of a powerful narrative. So I really feel like, I think these two things were very wrong in Dune 2, but Dune 2 is a 5 out of 5 star film, and it is powerful narrative, right? And I really think every dungeon master should be learning the lesson, and every dragon master should be learning the lesson. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion, nothing more, nothing less. What's important is that I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.